Bobby Seale is the original founding chairman and national organizer of the Black Panther Party. He has been a defendant in politically motivated trials, a negotiator in the Attica, New York State Prison uprising, an author, a producer, the founding board member of the National Alumni Association of the Black Panther Party, the creator and director of the Reach Foundation, and a cooking show host. I'm Guillory, Director of Student Support Services, and this is Ms. Kiara Lewis, the Student Outreach Coordinator for the Quality Enhancement Program, The Right Attitude.
And welcome to Savannah State University, Mr. Seale. We are so honored. It's a privilege to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so let's just go ahead and get into it. So could you speak on the conditions that gave rise to the need for the Black Panther Party 50 years ago?
When they first came out with the advocacy of Black Power in 1965, a year before the Black Panther Party was created, I did a demographic across country to see how many African American politicians we had duly elected to office, and I found only 50. There's probably a few more, but I stopped at 50 because whatever. And my whole argument with the other people who was advocating, we want Black Power, we want Black Power, and I'm telling them, you're not going to get any Black Power until you get some political power seats. What do you mean political power seats? I said, city council seats, county supervisorial seats. I said, every county has a sheriff elected to it. I said, a sheriff, get sheriffs elected and stuff. I said, these are political power seats, community level political power seats. And all of them, the white man, see, we got to make them some black folks seats too. You know, I knew my history. You know, I'm telling these guys, says, look, right after the Civil War and the Reconstruction period, we had numerous congressmen, black congressmen elected to those periods. I says, this is where they make the laws, make the rules, allocate the money, allocate the funds, the taxes, whatever, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Until you get some of that, that's what's going to happen. So, with that and some argument, and at the time I'm actually employed by the city government of Oakland, California, Department of Human Resources. I'm the North Oakland Neighborhood Service Center Community Liaison. And with that job, which is a very good paying job, I mean, you know, it's like that whole connection with the community, et cetera, and the programs we had, the employment jobs that we would pick up, et cetera, for the people, the other community services in the community, and the Summer Youth Jobs Program. I mean, like I hired all 100 or so of those youth, you know what I mean, and put them to work, you know, in various programs, and then argued with the board, informed the board the need to teach these kids more skills, you know, because I was a very lucky man. I was lucky. I was raised a carpenter and a builder from a very, very young age. By the time I was 15, I was doing architectural design, layout plots for my dad to add rooms and dens to people's homes. My father was a master carpenter and builder. My grandfather was a master carpenter and builder. In fact, my grandfather built 500 homes. This is the 1920s. He was the main contractor from the Seale family who run the banks. I'm very sorry. I caught myself trying to get this thing turned off a while ago. All right, there it goes. And that was a marketing people calling. I said, where was I at, please?
You said that your father was
My
working with the
father-
banks.
My grandfather, the Seale family ran the banks in Jasper, Texas, Jasper County. And that's where my family, after slavery, wound up working with, you know what I mean, that group of people in their houses, in their homes, and whatever. So then my grandfather, as all those, that family relationship, banks put up funds for building and construction and stuff, you know. And then the banker, the head bankers that suggested my grandfather built those 500 houses in Weirgate, Texas, just east of Jasper, Texas, not far from the Louisiana border. I mean, this is my background, you can understand. So for me, later on in life, to see my father build our home, our first home, from the ground with his hands, he built that house on the weekends. He worked for the Martin Lumber Company in Port Arthur, Texas. You know, and he finishes his home. I'm a little over 7 years of age, you know, and I'm helping to paint the front of the house, etc. And mosquitoes was up on the thing the next day. I wrote this in my autobiography, but I'm just saying that's where I come from. So by the time I'm 15, I'm an architect and helping my father. This is in California, you see what I mean? Do that, and my lot plot play out in the architecture designs and specs and stuff is passed by the city government, by the city inspection. You know, just to add rooms and dens of what my father was doing, because my father also owned a cabinet shop and what have you. I'm just saying, for me, as a person, and then I go in the Air Force, structural repair, high performance aircraft. I'm honor student in my tech school classes. I'm cross-training. I mean, I excel in this stuff, you know what I mean? And boom. And I wound up on the Gemini missile program, you know what I mean? This is a NASA contract that this company had, you see what I mean? And that's why I'm at 3.5 years. And at the same time, you know, almost 3.5 years into this, I went to hear Martin Luther King speak and stuff like this here. But this brother is telling us that we have to do something about jobs, employment, etc., and so on. And wow, I said, yeah. Now, I get jobs like that. I got the professions, the skills, the everything, you know what I mean, for a young man, you know, that people have. And then living in California, I always had a job, you know what I mean. I worked for World Airways, I worked for Kaiser Aerospace Electronics, boom, boom, boom. That was the thing. Simultaneously, I'm in college part-time. I might take 6 credit hours or 9 credit hours a semester while I work a full-time job. And I'm an engineering design major. This is where I'm at. So when I started working for the city government, I said, you gotta train these kids more skills. It's one thing to clean up empty, dirty lots and clean people's garages out, et cetera, and so on, so on, so on, so. I said, but I want the kids to learn some skills. I said, all this money here, and the board, you're the one that allocates this money. And I said, I want you to do some framework. What do you suggest? I say that a lot of the people who live in poverty, and this is a warm poverty program, et cetera, boom, 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 they're living in that. I said, I've seen when we go out there, I talk to these people, their houses need paint, external paint and internal paint. I said, the porches and steps need repair, et cetera. I said, you can build decks, what have you, et cetera. You can build fences with these kids, et cetera, and so on. I said, just authorize me to hire in other building construction people. I will do the interviewing and boom, boom, boom. And I will assign various students to these guys where we have jobs. And he says, with the jobs, I said, well, I talked to some of the landlords on these places. And I asked them that if we can produce these jobs and get them repaired with professional supervision in our youth, would you be willing to, would the landlords be willing to deduct 50% off the rent of the, 50% of the value of the job off the rent of the poor and low income person living? He said, well, yeah, sure. Boom. So I took that back. Next thing you know, I'm hired. That's the kind of stuff I like to do. You see what I mean? So I wanted the jobs. And that's very important because when you look at my 10-point platform and program in the Black Panther Party, right after we say we want power to determine our destiny in our own black community, it says we want full employment for our people. I was already into this about creating jobs, doing jobs, getting jobs, you see what I mean? So then decent housing, people, shelter of human beings. I've just told you where I come from on decent housing. Living in, you know, everybody deserves a decent home to live in, decent education. I'm the one, me and Virgil Morrell, my close buddy at Merritt College, we're the one that got black history into the curriculum there, you know, in the college, and into the curriculum and so on. So that's where I was coming. This is what I was doing preceding the Black Panther Party. The very things I was doing becomes incorporated into the founding documentation of the Black Panther Party, which is our 10-point platform and program.
That's definitely, wow.
Can you tell us what motivated the choice of the Black Panther as a symbol for the group?
Actually, you know, we had written that 10-point platform and program, and we had no name for it. We want full employment for our people. Next, we want decent housing for shelter for human beings. Next, we want all black men and women to be exempt from military service because this country is not recognized in our Constitution, democratic, civil, human rights, and blah, blah, blah. We want immediate end to police brutality and murder of black people. We want free preventive medical health care for our people. We want all black people who've been tried by all white juries to have the right to another trial and have some black folks on these juries who represents the average reasoning person in the black community, whereby to ensure that they get a real fair trial, etc. Boom, boom, boom. We want land, housing, education, clothing, justice, and peace. And then after we wrote that, another day we was in the office, and we would be there at night after everybody was off work. My office where I work for the city government. Well, we had a legal aid office upstairs. Huey was in night law school, right? And so when Huey would come there, I had introduced him already to the lawyers up there who ran that office, you know, and they made access to Huey could always come up in there, since I also hired Huey as a part-time assistant in the program there, etc. So Huey was up there trying to find the laws and the rulings related to whether or not we could whether we had a legal right to patrol and observe the police. But I was in another part of the building, and I ran across the Declaration of Independence. I started reading the Declaration of Independence. I said, wow. Now, somewhere around, I said, damn, these first two paragraphs of the Declaration of Independence says a lot. You know, I said, we want to change things. We want to, you read that, you know what I mean? When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for any one people to dissolve the political bondage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, when you think political bondage, you know, institutionalized racism, it's all part about political bondage. You know, a decent respect to the opinions of humankind dictate that they should declare the causes which impel them to dissolve that political bondage. This is my paraphrasing there. When a long train of abuses and usurpations pursues and invariably evinces a design to reduce a people under absolute despotism, it is the right of the people to alter or change that government and provide new guards for their future security and happiness. Declaration of Independence of the United States of America. I stuck those two paragraphs right at the tail end of my 10-point platform program. So you see where I'm coming from. I'm telling the it's an extension from one of Dr. Martin Luther King's speech. You know what I mean? That this country owes us a check. You know, and how do you put that phrase? And Martin Luther King, he says,
insufficient funds.
And it says insufficient funds. No, that Declaration of Independence is talking about the right of the people to alter, change this government. This is what we're talking about. So we want a political party. That's what I was saying. And we want to go after the political power seats because we don't have enough political power seats, as I've already explained why. These are the things and the thinking of me at the time of why we needed another organization. And this is what happened. And then, of course, later, after we decided to patrol police as a tactic, to look more or less as a tactic. It's not, why would we patrol police? Our point is that we want to capture the imagination of the people. One. Capture the imagination of the people, then my point is I can better organize them. Boom. Now, is it legal to patrol the police? Yes. Huey did all the research on all the laws. I mean, for a couple of months here, preceding the Black Panther Party. And then he worked with his law professor, et cetera. Yeah, you would be legal here, you legal there. Then we knew all the laws on the guns. Everything from regular laws concerning guns down to fish and game code, et cetera. We knew all of this. I mean, we were avid readers and researchers. A lot of people think that we just went out in the street with some guns or some macho crap. I didn't even believe in that. You know, I'm a person that believes in real organizing the levels of discipline when you're trying to do something relevant, you know. And I learned that that group discipline from being in the military. You know what I mean? Even me, myself, I remember I had excelled so high, I was a lead man, you know. And like a B-52 bomber is in the docks and it's got 1 month, you know, for overhauling, et cetera, et cetera. And in airframe stuff, you know, boom, that's my category. You know, I didn't do electronics. Everybody, others did the hydraulics, others did all that other stuff. I did airframe and structural repair, high performance aircraft. That's what I did. I believe, man, for 14 men, I got 400 gigs. Most of them are pop rivets, you know what I mean? Boom. There's all this other stuff. And I got to get this stuff cleaned up as lead man, working and supervising all the people under me. So, to me, when you organizing, I have to have that kind of disciplined group. It's not, And one of the things that Huey pointed out when we were getting ready to go out, he says, well, what's going to happen? Because this is from the legal end where Huey was coming from, because he's in law school. He says, if the police stop us and arrest us, we take the arrest. That's the first policy. You know what I mean? If it's a formal arrest, when you're under arrest, etc., then we take the arrest because we're not scared of the courtroom. 1. 2, we'll make a form out of the courtroom about the institutionalized racism in the first way when we get to the courtroom if we're arrested, etc. But, he says, in observing the police is crucial. We do not say anything to the police first. Never say anything to the police first. Let them first say something to you. Because he had found a specific ruling that allowed for the person who answers the policeman, then that person, you can't turn around and charge him with interfering with a police officer carrying out a student, because the police says something to you first, and then you answer him, he said. So when the police says, you have no right to observe me, then Huey says, no, California State Supreme Court ruling states that every citizen has a right to stand and observe a police officer carrying out his duty as long as they stand a reasonable distance away. A reasonable distance in that particular rule is constituted as 8 to 10 feet. Percent of approximately 20 feet from you will observe you whether you like it or not. And some sister on the sidewalk, she said, well, go head on and tell it, brother. I've never heard it like that before. You know what I mean? Is that gun loaded, the police say? And he would say, if I know it's loaded, it's good enough. Well, I have a right. He says, you have no right whatsoever. You recited something, United States Supreme Court, somebody versus so and so and so. Therefore, you cannot remove my property from it without due process of law. Step back, you cannot touch my weapon. And this tall black brother, he said, man, what kind of Negroes is this? I mean, you're in a grassroots community. A couple of those people on the sidewalk are quite intelligent brothers, others just regular workers, and then there's young people, etc. And that's called capturing the imagination of people. What kind of Negroes is these? You see what I mean? So now, that action spread it all across the community. Remember, we're a ragtag organization. I ain't got but 14 people in the whole damn Black Panther while we were doing this. But that spreads throughout the community. Bobby Seale and Huey Newton are patrolling the police who brutalized us. You know, I mean, it gets so good to the people, and we can't go to all these places because we got San Francisco, Oakland, Berkeley, Richmond, California. These are major cities there. You know, where our African American community and other Asian people. My God, I got 14 members in the whole Black Panther Party at this time. And I got an office and all this stuff. I put that up, etc. Boom, boom, boom. You know, but we ain't got but 14 members. You know, but it gets good to the people. Because people stand out. Now, you policemen, remember now, don't be brutalizing nobody, because we're gonna call the Black Panthers over here on y'all. I heard about cases like this.
Oh, wow.
And boom. So I'm just saying, that's how the party. Still, that whole year in the personal Black Panther Party, we never had no more than 50 members come through that organization. People think that we didn't have that. I had led an armed delegation 7 months after we started the Black Panther Party to the California State Legislature. I didn't have about 22 real members of the Black Panther Party. Because some of those other people that went with us were not in my organization, but they just worked with us. You see what I'm getting at? Mm-hmm. Boom. We had international notoriety for me to lead an armed delegation into the California State Legislature. You know what I mean? First, I read our executive mandate number 1 from the Black Panther Party concerning this bill that Mulford is trying to get through the legislature to stop us from legally observing police because we stand a reasonable distance away and observe. And that's how legal we were for those first 6 months. We were legally correct. Our guns were not illegal. None of that. None of that. And these racists inside that legislative chamber did not like this. Mm-hmm. These guys is legal. Oh my God, we got to make a law. And they, in fact, finally did make a law by the end of May 1967 saying no one could carry a loaded weapon inside city limits within 150 feet of public property. And public property included all roadways and byways, which meant you would have to be 150 feet from a public sidewalk before you could load your weapon. We were not going to go out there with unloaded weapons. stopped patrolling. And we told people on the press that we will observe police from our windows in our houses because we have a right to load our guns inside our houses. You know, but by this time we had this international notoriety. I mean, people all over the country, everybody, ooh, you see them Panthers, they welcomed these Black Panthers. This was exciting. We were capturing the imagination of people, even with me going and doing. And I only went there to read a statement, and we left the Capitol. They didn't arrest us till after we left the Capitol. They arrested us in a service station parking lot. You know, arrested all my people except the women. They didn't touch the women. See, that racist male phobia. Black male start getting tough and saying, I'm going to defend myself, but I'm not going to let you run over me. Oh, so they know they've been oppressing us, and then that phobia they had, you know. But we were about a program that we wanted them legislative seats. Because you the one to make laws. We're a political party. We want legislative seats so we could change these racist laws, you know. And I guess that's the whole motivation behind the Black Panther Party. You know, and after I led that delegation, my boss come downtown. He's an African American. He was freshly hired or maybe a year earlier than that. And he says, Bobby, what are you doing? Why did you go up to the Capitol with all these guns? And I said, because, man. I said, you know. He said, yeah, I know, Bobby. He says, wow. He said, they're forcing me. The mayor and everybody's firing you. I said, fine, brother. Don't worry about that. You know what I mean? I said, I'm standing my ground. You know what I mean? He says, I don't blame you, sir. He says, blah, blah. So it wasn't no thing. You know, I'm not going to argue. I knew what was going on. He knew what was going on, and they let me go. You know, that's all right. And then they put me in jail a month later for disturbing the peace of the California State Legislature for 6 months. It was a misdemeanor. It's not a felony. It was a misdemeanor. They never, when they arrested us after we left there, it was not even about the guns. There was no charges concerning guns or anything. And when we did go to court, I got everybody bailed out. I had my brother-in-law, he was a bail sponsor. And I got him to use his insurance for that county up there to bail everybody out, you know. And then when we went to court a day or two after that, they only charged 6 people. All the other 24 people, they weren't even charged. Because there was only 6 people that went inside the chamber. 5 people got inside the legislative chamber. Because hordes of press, when I say hordes of press, you're talking about 50 people in the press, in the media, the cameras, the print media, the radio media, etc. and so on, following me in the, you know, this is an exciting thing for them to see all these black people come up here with all these guns and these shotguns and these rifles. I carried an Army 45 pistol on my side. You know, as long as the weapons are not concealed, they were not illegal, and none of our weapons were ever concealed. But when they arrested and charged us, they charged us with disturbing the peace. And so we says, wow. And all the other people was cut loose, etc. Boom, boom, boom. And I says, okay, we post bail. We got bail here for everybody anyway. Now let's go down here and tell the policeman, give us our guns back. We walked down to the police department in the same building. We're not giving you any. I says, the guns are our private property. You cannot remove our private property from us without due process of law. We are not getting these damn guns back. We go back to the court, got the lawyer to tell the judge, to tell the police department to give us our property back based on the right. You cannot remove our property from us without due process law. Nobody is in charge with any gun violations here, only disturbing the peace. Judge said, yeah, give them their guns back. Got in, got our guns, and went home. The law.
Yeah.
See where I'm coming from? If people have to look and understand the Black Panther Party in terms of the law, even the false charges and all the courtroom trials and all the crap that the counterintelligence program did to murder our people, etc., and so on, boom, boom, boom. It's the law, where they were violating the law. You know, and then finally, after all those years and those shootouts and those battles, etc., and boom, 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 and then stop the battles, etc., we got to send an investigation hearing against the FBI for attacking us, against them. Senator Ted Kennedy and Senator Church headed it up. You're running around here, the FBI's attacking these Black Panthers. Now, Mr. Bobby Seale and others have run for political office. Their names are on the ballot. That means they're citizens in the community. You cannot do this to citizens in the community just because they said they have a right to defend themselves. And you run to their office, you run to their office, and this is all in the Senate investigation here. So all the people don't understand why the shootouts stopped. The reason the shootouts stopped because we got this in an investigation here on our side. These are legislators. They make laws. It goes back to the law.
To the law, definitely. So I think, overall, I think what we learned so far is you need to know the law. It's important.
You need to know the law, and you understand it's legislators that make the laws.
Mm-hmm.
So we want some of those political power seats. When you can make laws, that's political power.
Right. And I heard you touch on about Huey Newton, so I want you to talk a little bit about you guys' relationship, and were there any tensions in the planning process for the vision of the party with you two?
No, there wasn't no tensions. It's just that I told Huey that we're going to have a national organization. He thought we needed a small one. I said, no, it'll be national.
You know, it'll be national. Okay.
It's going to be national.
So we're
it's
going to
going to be a
big. Yeah.
Well, I think, I said, Huey, you want a small organization? Go. Well, if I'm going to be an equal leader with you, I said, you're an equal leader. I says, but I'm telling you what my goal objective is here. Well, what would you do? I said, Huey, I go organize anything I want to. Oh, I said, yeah. I said, now you're not an organizer. Well, I was in the African American Association. I said, but you didn't organize the African American Association. I organized a jobs program for 100 youth in North Richmond, California. You know what I mean? And then ran the program, and then educated the community about the program, and left an institution there. I organized the Black History Back group to get and did all the research. We did the literal research, and got Dean Olson to agree that he'll put this in the curriculum at Merritt College. I said, I organized that rally. You weren't there. I organized the rally against the war in Vietnam, saying to these young black men, 50% of the 5,500 people who were students at Merritt College were African American. And our argument was, at that time, 29% of all the people dying on the front lines of Vietnam were African American, we found out. And this country yet in 1966 is not recognized in our Constitution, democratic, civil, and human rights. And we've fought in all these wars. I mean, you have to understand, I had digested Dr. Herbert Athacker's work that documented all the wars the black people have fought in since the beginning and the founding of this country. Not only Crispus Attucks. People don't understand that even beside Crispus Attucks in the colonial war in this country, boom, boom, boom. What about the German Hessian soldiers who the king had bought and sent over here to rout out the colonials, who landed in Rhode Island? Who fought those German Hessian soldiers when they come off the boat? You know who fought them? Blacks who were slaves and they'd been promised slavery and trained. Lafayette was with the French. And Lafayette came up and went up to the New England area. Lafayette says, wow, you guys are ragtag here. You need some more people to help you. You need to promise these black slaves here some freedom and start training them to help you fight. And that's what they did. So when the German Hessian soldiers did land months later, it was those black soldiers this is in the colonial war in this country. To make this a country, we were spilling our blood. You know what I mean? Not only were we in slavery, but that's important. So when people talk to me about patriotism and everything, I know what patriotism is. You know what I mean? We're fighting and we're being treated as second-class citizens, but we're dying like first-class citizens. You see what I mean?
Right.
And trying to keep this country from being run over by others, etc. So after the Civil War and that Reconstruction period, I forget, we had a lot of black congressmen duly elected to political office. See that? And then after Reconstruction, and those white people took over back to their little places, etc., and denied on the state level the right of blacks to vote. You understand that, okay? denied their right to vote. They took over those political seats. So I'm right when I say in 1966, we need those political seats, those political power seats. I started the Black Panther Party in October 1966 to mid-60s. By the end of the 1970s, 15 years later, remember we only had 50 people duly elected to political office in the 50s. In the 1970s, we had 7,000 black folks duly elected to political office. By the end of the 1980s, we had somewhere 12 to 14,000 duly elected to political office. By the 90s, we had nearly 20,000 black folks duly elected to political office. Plus, Chicano Mexican Americans come in the thousands elected to political office. Plus, more and more women was being elected to political office. Plus, you see what I mean? So that 60s protest movement, and we were part of it, changed that demographic of political electorate. How many political seats can one be elected to in the United States of America? Well, I knew, and I counted it, and I checked it out, and I did this in 1965. I come up with 500,000 political seats one can be elected to, and in 1960s we only had 50 people of color duly elected to political office. Now, does that mean that, wow, all these half of them politicians in the process of its growth over 30 years probably ain't worth duty squat. But I'd rather have 20,000 and half of them ain't worth duty squat, and maybe some of them over here, we're going to get something going. You see what I'm getting at? Than to have only 50 or none.
Now, the Black Panther had a newspaper. Is it a newspaper?
Black Panther Party newspaper, yeah.
How did you use that newspaper to maybe promote your platform?
Well, it was in 10-point platform. The program was in the newspaper every week.
Okay.
Every week of every week, practically every week of its publication. That paper grew to a point as the party, Black Panther Party grew, particularly in 1968, following the death of Martin Luther King. My organization, before Dr. King was killed, I only had 400 members up and down the West Coast. I had no chapters and branches across country. At the point that Martin Luther King was killed. He was killed on April 4th, 1968. By November, when Nixon was elected, I moved from 400 members to 5,000 members. The death of Dr. Martin Luther King had made so many young folks angry, and they flooded my organization. I spoke all across the country, all during the summer. I mean, I would go to, summer school. They had summer school sessions for me to speak at, some of these student organizations and people. And then people want to start a chapter or a branch or already started something. I speak at the college, and then the next evening, next night, I speak to them, and I taught them to find particulars in the methodology of effective grassroots community organizing, political electoral building, and how you do this. You got to find, where is your office located? Well, it's okay. I says, what city council area seat, councilmatic district you in? Oh, I don't know. I'll find it out quick. Well, I said, that's a political representative here in that city council seat. In fact, you find out every political seat. You go down and you could go down to the voter registrar's offices and you get the maps of where the boundaries of your seats are. This is important. I said, what do you think? This is a political party. You start laying the foundation, because futuristically in 1, 2, 3, 4 years, you're going to run and or support some progressive black representative in our community. That's what you're going to do. This is a political party. So these programs, the breakfast programs, the free preventative medical health care programs, the nationwide sickle cell anemia testing program that we involved with, it's not that just, see when they saw this little movie, the Black Panthers had these good programs that they did in the black community. Yeah, but they were programs to organize and unify, get people registered to vote and unify them so that we can take over some political seats to change all the racist laws. It wasn't just because they're doing a good job with their breakfast program, some people say. I said, yeah, but you don't understand what I'm doing.
It's a greater purpose. Yeah.
The Free Breakfast for Children program spread like wildfire across the country. J. Edgar Hoover had announced that the black, wait a minute, you do the research, I do the research. J. Edgar Hoover sent a memo out to all 43, 44 district officers of the FBI in the United States of America to tell his agents, etc., to do everything and anything to discredit the Black Panthers Breakfast for Children program. Do anything and everything to slow down and curtail any white liberal support of the Black Panthers, to curtail any black moderate support of the Black Panthers program. Now, them attacking us, particularly in the year 1969, had really nothing to do with the fact that we owned some guns. The little guns we had some guns, some shotguns and some pistols, some rifles, and some shotguns. That's what we had to defend our officers if we attacked, to defend ourselves from any Ku Klux Klan or idiot Nazis coming around. And they had threatened us. Well, I had thousands of letters from the Ku Klux Klan, from the racist Nazis, from the white racist Aryans. Oh, we had all of those. And one time I got on television. I said, "When you come," I said, "This letter here." I had all these letters, many of these letters on television. You ever see those letters? And the name of the program was Race Relations in America. And I said, you threatened my mother. And yes, you did. You threatened my mother who spoke out on my behalf. I says, and when you come to shoot me, to kill Black Panthers, I warn you, we are well armed. I says, I warn you, I've been in the military and I'm an expert shot. I'm an expert shot, and I go check my military record.
Do you still have all these letters?
Yeah, I had them in my lawyer's office.
You still have them?
Well, yeah, I had them for legal purposes.
Okay.
My brother could carry, we found out in the law, my brother, John Seale, could carry a concealed weapon. They arrested him one time. Oh, we got him for carrying a concealed weapon. Charles Gary calls up, you're going to have to let him, told him, you got to let him go. So why? But such and such a law and such and such a pay, the penal code, boom, 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 says that boom, 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 this man, if he's got loved ones' lives are in danger, that he can actually carry a concealed weapon. No, not true. Yes, it is. He had to let my brother go and give him his gun back. The law. See, one person that helped us build that network of lawyers, the man's name was Roy Wilkins of the NAACP. I had a lot of phone conversations with Roy Wilkins back in those days. But he helped us build our network of lawyers all across the United States of America. And this is the kind of stuff that people don't understand. I've been lecturing this for years, you know, but somehow or another, the counterintelligence program, the FBI, the infiltrators who came into our organization and were used to help kill and murder us and try to terrorize us out of existence on the part of the FBI and gets in the way of my political organizing strategy. You see, that's what my operation was with the Black Panther. Above and beyond Huey Newton's discretions, particularly in the last days of the party, above and beyond Eldridge Cleaver's anarchistic arguments, etc. What I was doing was totally opposite of what these guys were doing. See what I mean? I put the organization together. Huey didn't put this organization together. Huey was sitting in jail for 3.5 years while I organized this organization from a handful of people to 5,000 members in 49 chapters and branches all across the United States of America. And I went to those chapters and branches and I taught those brothers and sisters, 20, 50, sometimes 30, boom, boom, boom. I'm a blackboard person, I'm hands-on. I took maps with me and says you gotta know your voting precincts and this is what you're gonna ultimately do. I says, and from now on, since our newspaper has grown so big, we put in a 48-page tabloid in this Black Panther Party newspaper. I says, and you guys got issues and problems in your local community. So you're going to have a Ministry of Information department in your area, Deputy Minister of Information department in your chapter or your branch. And you're gonna have to get writers in here and brothers and sisters, you know, to run your event. I said, because you are gonna publish a Ministry of Information bulletin based on your local problems, your local issues, etc. And when we ship these hundreds of thousands of Black Panther Party newspapers to your office, you're gonna have your members take your Ministry of Information and insert it in every issue. And so now you got the national issues of the Black Panther and you got your local issues.
Where did you get your writers from? Did you use some of
Oh,
the
well,
colleges? Some of the students at colleges and universities in the area?
Eldridge Cleaver,
Okay.
he was the Minister of Information. He was the
Okay.
first one.
So how did he use the written word to
Eldridge
to
Cleaver
persuade
published, my God, this man published, that's Soul on Ice. That man's book sold 5 million copies in the United States of America. This man was rated with James Baldwin and everybody else when he come out with Soul on Ice, what have you, etc. But we had people like his wife, Kathleen Cleaver. They were good writers. She had been previously in SNCC. People like Bobby Rush had previously been in SNCC too. He became a United States Congressman, and he was the head of the Illinois State chapter of the Black Panther Party. You see what I'm getting at? So, party members, we looked around and we have people who write. The Deputy Minister of Information in the National Headquarters was Big Man Albert Howard. He was a writer. He joined my organization. He was one of the founding members of the Black Panther Party. You know what I mean? When he joined my organization. Me and Huey were not writers. Oh, we could write. You know, but I'm a seaman. I have to go get some sister that's going to help correct my paper, my anthropology papers, etc., and correct all this stuff and show me what's correct so I can rewrite the paper with the corrections.
I was going to ask you.
Oh, that's how I did. Oh, I did great papers.
Okay.
And I got A's on these papers.
Okay.
But I give you, I tell them, sister, I says, no, I need you to help me do this.
Because I know you're the author of several books, and I know a lot of this information is in
Seize
your
the Time
books.
is done by tape recording.
Mm-hmm.
That second book, Along the Rain, my wife, Leslie today, she's the one she's the one who wrote and
Teamwork.
With teamwork, yeah. But my wife did everything from take French in high school to whatever, etc. And she was great in language arts. She just had that skill. I didn't have it.
Gotcha.
I'm a math man. I don't know what it is to get nothing but an A in any kind of math.
Gotcha.
You know, I go right on up to my level of math hit what they call college math, with the application of the quadratic formula in probability theory. That's the level of math I hit. Now, I had taken a quantum physics class that was short-lived, but I mean, I was ready to go there, and probability theory in quantum physics is another level. But I was, when the Heritage Foundation, the White Racist Heritage Foundation, published the bell curve, trying to prove that black folks are automatically inferior. Man, I walked through that material there and found it and did the other research, etc. These guys, and then then somebody in Scientific American went on and spilled the beans that this so-called IQ test was crap. It was so-called interviews, so the very data that they entered to try to use this. And then the bell curve is all about an application of the quadratic formula. You see? And I said, these dudes here is taking a scientific, probability theory, that's what it is, to prop up this notion that black folks are automatically correct. Well, they got wiped out by all the academics and everybody, math and me too. You know what I mean? I talked about them like a dog in the college lecture circus, Boom, boom, boom. I'm saying that's where I come from.
Right.
And the high-tech world, what have you, etc. And to this day, I get my wife to do a whole lot of writing and rewriting for me. You know what I mean?
Okay, so I have a good question here. So I know during the 60s and in the beginning of the Black Panther Party, you guys were about guns, and now you're saying the use of technology is very efficient, and we can that's our power. So could you kind of elaborate on the use of
The Black
technology?
Panther Party was about getting political electoral seats.
Right.
guns was just a secondary
right,
thing. Okay, that's
Right.
all.
Gotcha.
I mean, you have to really look at it that way.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, what did we have? A few shotguns and rifles,
Mhm.
etc. What did the racist power structure have? They had atomic
Everything.
bomb.
Yeah.
Remember, structure repair, high performance aircraft. I pulled a B-52 bomber out of the docks in the 1950s. I went to the United States Air Force March 1955, 4 years, right up to 1960. Okay, I watched the Army unit bring the nuclear weapons over once we repaired and overhauled, etc. And we have to be standing way back, you know. Boom, while they load these nuclear weapons on this B-52 bomber. And then those B-52 bombers would crash and then take off out the runway. And I'm proud of my job. And my job in airframe and structural repair, any bomber that's going out there and that I dealt with and my crew, etc., we pass inspection. I'm proud of my job. Now, that's in the United States Air Force. I don't have no politics, man.
Mhm.
You see what I mean? I don't get no politics till later on in life.
Mhm.
So my point is not about I'm going to get rid of all the bombs in
No,
the world.
yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. What I'm trying to say is that black folks need some political power
Mhm.
so they can control this stuff, so they can control laws and get rid of laws that are racist laws that cause people to get. That's what it's about.
Mhm.
So people ask that question. So now you stop using the guns. Boom, boom, boom. No. The guns were always just a tool
Mhm.
in the
Mhm.
first place.
Mhm.
You know, if you come in here shooting at us, boom, boom, like you've been doing all across the country, they'd already been shooting and killing and murdering peaceful protesters, black peaceful protesters, white protesters, brutalizing them all across the country. And this is
No,
what was
it's
happening.
self-defense, yeah.
Well, what we said is that we're organizing for full employment,
Mhm.
decent housing,
Mhm.
decent education, preventative medical health care. We want land, bread, housing, education, clothing, justice, and peace. And the Declaration of Independence of the United States of America says we have a right to alter or change this government and provide new guards for our future security and happiness. New guards, new legislators,
Mhm.
political power seats. Those are the new guards we wanted to provide for our future happiness.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Right.
So that's where we were coming from. That's what the Black Panther Party was about.
Gotcha.
Now, other people start doing whatever, they deviate from what my program was about.
Mhm.
And I stand on that. Everybody, Huey deviated in his last days from what my program was about. Even Eldridge, as sincere as he was about the struggle, deviated from what my program was about. This is what happened.
Mhm.
See, so boom. To this day, I believe every man has a right to have a shotgun and a pistol in his house, his home, what have you, etc. I'm not against hunters' rights. What I'm against is racists and the way they make laws. Stand your ground laws. Stand your ground laws for what? So a bunch of racists can get away with shooting and killing young black folks in the black community unjustly? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You know, and sure, we got some of them and put them on trial, and a couple of them put them in jail, etc., because we got video cam technology
Mhm.
that captured and showed that this was straight out murder on the part of some of those racist cops. But most of the cops really just doing a job. You have to understand that. I ran for mayor of Oakland. So what was I going to do with Mayor of Oakland? Was I going to destroy the police department? No. What I was going to do is change the police department. So my major argument when I ran for mayor of Oakland about the police department, I said, we are going to have a program for our police departments. I said, in fact, the program that I advocate as a candidate for mayor of Oakland. These guys are going to be paid 8 hours, and they are all going to go to college in small groups, and you're going to learn the constitutional, democratic, civil, human rights of the people. This is what you're going to learn, and you're going to know that, etc. And then we're going to have sessions in college where you relate to the grassroots people. I'm not a politician standing there, and we need free health, and I will give it if you vote for me.
You're about to action.
I got a real
Yes.
program
Yes.
that demonstrates the issue and the problem. You see what I mean?
Right.
So when I see what evolved with with the affordable health care here, you know what I mean? Who was one of the people who was a Black Panther to help put the affordable health care open? Congresswoman Barbara Lee. Where did Congresswoman Barbara Lee come from? The Black Panther Party in Oakland, California. You see, she was a community worker with the Black Panther Party way back then. She says, no, she says, I got started in politics because Bobby Seale put me in the field registering people to vote. Well, I said, Barbara, I had forgotten all about it. She says, yeah, she said, tell everybody at a big ceremony we had where she said, that's where I got started in politics. Because he was a serious dude. He had put 20 people in the field, and I was one of those 20 people, and we were knocking on doors registering people to vote.
Yeah, definitely.
And that was, so I mean, you know, the party was, you have to keep thinking the politics of constitutional, democratic, civil, human rights of the people. Politically, economically, ecologically, and social justice-wise. This is where we were coming from. This is where I'm coming from to this day. You know? So, all the progressive things that Obama moved to do, stand behind him, brother. We needed a kind of politician. And we need 100 more of them. We have what we call maybe 90 progressive voting politicians in the House of Representatives, real progressive voting politicians who put things like, push and put things like the affordable health care over in the House of Representatives. They were the key to why that bill came about. And we got 90 of them. We need 3 times that many in that House of Representatives. See what I mean? And I'm just saying, yeah, we know politicians play games, but out of it, can we get some real relevant programs economically, et cetera?
Is there a presidential candidate today whose message represents the needs of the people?
Yeah, that's just it. You see the arguments going on.
Right.
I mean, Bernie Casey is arguing it, even Hillary Clinton is arguing, et cetera. And then even Rubio and these right-wing Republicans, they're arguing it, and they quasi-argue the needs of the people in one way, shape, fashion, form, or another. But see, they double talkers, you see. Because people like, what's his name? Scott Walker in Wisconsin, you know. When you follow the paper trail back then, I could find out $40 million to get him elected, you know, came from largely the Koch brothers, you know. And as fast as the guy got elected, boom, then he got the union, that was city workers and government workers in the state of their state, to make a lot of compromises, et cetera, you know, pay some of their health care and all this kind of stuff. And then he turned around after he got that and got his majority Republicans to vote in taking away the bargaining power rights of the union. The bargaining power rights of the union. This guy's trying to destroy the union. I mean, bargaining power rights is a people's power right. See, legislation, political power. You can make the rights or you can take away people's rights. See what I mean? And that's what it's about. That's where the Black Panther Party was coming from.
I really think you have definitely given me, and I know for sure we've gotten so much information. I'm trying to retain everything right now as we speak.
We've got to help people get beyond all the distortions, the lies, and all the kind of crap that's propagating around. People propagate stuff, you know, to distort what we were about.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
And they don't understand it. It's necessary for young folks. What I'm talking about, a lot of young folks, y'all wasn't even born yet.
Right.
You know, boom, boom, boom. And not only just me, Dr. King, et cetera, brothers and sisters in the history. I mean, a lot of folks don't know when I talk about this. 168,000 black men was enlisted into the Northern Union Army during the middle of the Civil War. When the Emancipation Proclamation was made by 168,000, and 38,000 of them died, and they won and they beat the Confederates. That's who, excuse my expression, kicked the Confederates' butts. We had to fight that war and get into it to get rid of slavery in history boom, and boom. So now we got a lot of politicians. We just gotta re-elect some until we get more and more progressive politicians, sisters and brothers, especially sisters. If we can get sisters with their empathetic nature, etc., you know, in terms of analyzing what our problems are, etc., boom, 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 and getting rid of these racist and oppressive barriers, you know what I mean? That's the key. I mean, that's the key. Yes. When I hear young black folks doing things and being successful, whether it's education, business, or whatever, I love it.
Right.
Progressive people, including black folks and stuff, need to get elected, need to get education, need to get everything. We have to control this stuff more and more.
Right.
So we can control our economics, et cetera, and make a pathway for greater liberation, our human liberation.
Yes.
Of all people.
Yes.
Of all people,
Yes.
Yeah.
whether you're
Yes.
black, white, blue,
Yes.
red, green,
Of all
yellow,
people.
or polka dot. That's what I love to say. This is for all power to all the people.
All the people.
See, we have been, as African American people in America, who have been at the forefront of what human liberation is about since the beginning of this country. Yeah, Native Americans fought. Yeah, etc. But on a consistent basis, we have been at the forefront of it.
This is, I have to take this all in. Gary, did you have any final words?
No, I, you know, for me, it's an honor and a privilege.
Yeah,
Thank
it
you.
definitely.
And I'm learning.
definitely, yeah. So we thank you so much for your time, Mr.
Mhm.
Seale.